Hi guys, it's Foye, but you can call me Foye.
Hey, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like.
Hi, this is Velisa, and you can call me Vels if you want. And this is the Everybody Hates HR pod, episode 24.
Woo, woo, woo. Baby.
Yeah.
You guys all good?
Good.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. We are going to have an episode that we've been talking about for a while, actually. We're going to speak about managers today, like good managers, bad managers, and I guess everything in between. I was saying before to you guys that I've never had a really, really bad manager that's had like a really bad impact on my working experience, but I have had really good managers, I think. Like, what's your guys' experience of like managers? Like, what do you think makes a good one, a bad one, and what's your experiences?
So I've had an experience of both, more good than bad, but I can definitely suss out a bad manager quite quickly. It doesn't take me a long time to spot one out. But I'll start with the positives. I feel like for a good manager, it's really weird. Maybe it's like, there might also be some sort of psychology behind it, but I look for mentorship in for me, as someone that I class as a good manager. Obviously not outright, I'm going to be your mentor, but someone that I can learn from. And I know that, you know what, I'm actually progressing and developing and learning from you without you teaching me, just by watching you. That's what I class as a good manager. And I've had a couple of those over the years, but I don't know what you guys will class as good managers.
Do you know what? I haven't had a bad manager before, but I've had the in-between manager where I thought they were good, but when I looked into it, I was like, nah, you actually snaked me. So I had that,
Shockers.
which I've spoken about before.
Yeah, I know.
I think you even named them.
No, that was another one.
guys.
Don't get me in trouble.
Oh,
that was a different one. He wasn't my manager. He was just a colleague that was doing too much.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like a good manager, for me, it's changed. Like when I was more junior in my career, a good manager was somebody who like spoke to me quite nicely, but still told me what I needed to develop like constructively. And then I think as I've gotten more senior in my career, I look more for that mentorship. Like, is there anything I can see of myself in that person, and like what they've done to kind of like progress in their career with those similar qualities?
Yeah.
Yeah. And before I used to prefer men as managers. But I think I've had a lot of good like managers who are women.
Yeah.
Like the ones I think have had like significant impacts, they're actually women, not men.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, for me, a good manager is like the learning is important. Somebody that I can learn from, and someone who actively wants to teach me, not sit me down and be like, 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
But like who will allow me to have learning opportunities. Like there could be something they could do and it might make more sense for them to do it with the time. But actually being like, why don't you try this? And then we'll talk about it. Like, I'm being patient and knowing that if I am learning, it's going to take time. So I feel like for me, the ones that you feel quite safe with to like try something, knowing that it might not be like 100% and they'll still be comfortable.
Do you know what? That kind of made me think a good manager is someone who has your back.
Yeah.
I feel like, I've had a manager where I felt like they didn't have my back. Like they were ready to people please instead of actually backing me up. And the managers that I've really enjoyed having are the ones that are like, do you know what? Like, I hear you.
Yeah.
This might be a bit fucked up, but like just see how it goes. Like if that's what you think, then I've got you.
Yeah.
And I think those managers are hard to come by.
Yeah.
Very hard.
This is going to sound really random, but I was listening to an old episode and you said that you was watching Snowfall.
Okay.
And I recently started watching Snowfall. And
welcome.
There was, and I probably binged it. So like there was a scene in it and I thought this is what a good relationship looks like, or this is what support looks like. Basically, one of them basically did something outside and like...
Are you calling Franklin a good manager?
Yeah.
You're calling the top drug dealer good manager.
He's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So basically, the top dog.
I guess so.
One of his underlings did something, and a neighboring gangster was like, trying to say, look what your underling did, and then in public he was like, don't chat to my underling like that. Like he's in my team. And then when they got into a private place, he was like, you messed up and don't do that again. And I feel like that's what a good manager's like. If they'll have your back, even if you have it wrong, that you can handle it in private. They can be like, this is not what you're supposed to do, but they won't just throw you to the wolves. Like, and that, listen, I actually have been thrown to the wolves before.
I have as well.
You?
Yeah. I've been flung. You know when they say F them kids? That's how they threw me. Like, that was when, it wasn't necessarily my manager, but it was someone senior that I worked with, and they dashed me without a second thought, and it was not nice.
Wow.
So like, I can really appreciate people that will have my back. Even when I mess up, say, okay, do you know what, I'm going to speak. We're going to handle this inside. I'm going to speak to her about it. And then you'd be like, okay, this is what you did. I won't really beat myself up. We can move forward.
That's so funny. I've never been dashed, but there was one time I literally was that manager that was defending my HR assistant. One email came through, and you know what? I was like, nah. When you're just like this, like Twitter fingers but on the keyboard. Don't talk to my HR assistant like that. But it actually went far. I had to go and speak to the CEO, and he had to mediate between the two of us.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, that was rude. Because what he done was he had an issue with her or the work that she done or the quality of work that she done, which is fine. But he sort of reprimanded her to me and copied her in, but was like talking about her to me.
Oh, no, that's not
that's
nice.
rude.
Yeah.
If you've got an issue, you either just come to me. Like, no, there's not even any either. Just come to me if you're not happy with something, and then I can go back and speak to her. Or you can have a civilized conversation with her and just be like, this isn't what I was asking for. It's more of this. But don't then like talk about her really in not a nice way and copy her in. Like, that's just really
that is horrible.
Do you know what I always think is when you have a manager that actually supports you and someone copies in your line manager, you'll just lol.
Literally.
Like, what are they gonna do?
Literally.
Like, that's
literally.
that's a cultural thing. It's like it means that you think that the business has a culture or this team has a culture that if I go to your manager, you're going to be in trouble. And that's the kind of culture that you want to breed, like a culture of fear.
Or like snitching.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like a form of snitching. Not saying, anyway, snitching is, but but it's like, why is that in the workplace? Why would you want to breed that sort of culture of, oh, if I've got an issue with you, I'm going above you, as opposed to speaking
People love
to
that,
you.
CC.
No, I'm not gonna lie,
They love it. Oh, go on, Lola.
I've done it, but I will speak to you first. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've done it where like your team are literally, or someone in your team is just not doing their job. I've asked you 6 times. You're now ignoring my emails. I'm not going to copy you in, but I'm going to take. Can you get this person to respond to me? I've done it.
But
before.
you've told them already.
Of course, I'll chase you 6 times by this point, and you're not responding to me.
Well, if you've mentioned it to them,
Sometimes
it
you
is
just
what
have to escalate, not in like a really bitchy way, but like.
I also think that when you throw your team members or whatever to the wolves, it makes you look bad.
It does.
Like,
It does.
to me, it speaks more on you than your team member. It makes me think, one, you're not, what's going on in your team? Like, are you managing properly? Why does whoever that reports in you, why are they behaving like this? Why do they not understand? I think it reflects badly on the manager, not the team member. So I've never really understood the concept of throwing your team members to the wolf.
Do you know? And I think we're in a bit of a unique position, because even though I can say I've never had a bad manager, but I've never had one which was like so bad that it was like impacting my work. But I've worked with so many. I've coached so many terrible line managers. Like, I don't know if I said on one of the pods once, but there was someone who I'd worked with. He was like in a sales role. He basically had decided he didn't want to sell, so he was going to take on some sort of learning and development role, teaching other people how to sell. Then he just got really slack because he didn't have targets. He stopped coming in on time and stuff like that. One day, I don't know if I mentioned it, but the one day that his manager packed up his box and left it outside the office. And that was how he dismissed
That
it.
is wild.
Insane.
Yeah, and he had been there for like 7 years. So obviously now we've got issues.
Yeah, of course.
But like, that's what I mean. Like, I've actually worked with terrible managers, or ones who were like, oh, this person is not responding to diary invites. Can you send a note to the whole business that people need to respond to diary invites? How about you speak to your team member?
Yeah. Also, yeah. Do you know what? I know it's my job, but I'm tired of being managers to like your team members.
Yeah.
Not even to the managers. It's when they get you involved to speak to the team member. It's like, no, but you are the manager.
Yeah.
I'm happy to coach you. I'm happy to even draft emails for you. But when it's like, I feel like I just don't want to do that. It's like, okay, in the beginning, but after, if I'm doing this for you like 3-4 months later down the line, I'm now doing your job.
There's hand holding and there's doing the job.
Yeah, I'm now doing your job. And sir, I don't get paid what you get paid. So
That is the hardest part sometimes.
It's big facts.
do you know what I mean?
When I'm hand holding you and then I see that you're getting paid mid 6 figures, and when I say 6 figures, I'm not just talking about 100 plus, you know, and I'm doing a job. No, I can't. When you're newly promoted, 45k, like me, I'll hold your hand. We'll skip together, you know. But the rest of you, like, you're on your own.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think some people they genuinely don't know they're bad managers.
Oh no, they don't.
Yeah, like especially working in ER, like some people, like some of the things they say or they ask you, and in my head I'm thinking, wow, like you really don't see the problem.
Yeah. No,
like you don't know what's wrong with what you just said, or like how you want to deal with this individual. Like, thank God you came to me, because like this is not going to be okay.
And you know, sometimes they didn't even come to you. Someone recommended, and you know,
literally.
you know, the person who recommended also knows that they're problematic.
Literally, I'm like, wow, you actually don't know this would have been a big mess up. Like,
Mess up. And the confidence that they come with as well. Yeah.
but it's because they're so good at their job, so they think they're a good manager because they're good at their job.
That's why they got promoted.
But those are just two different things. Like, why do I, as a HR person, have to tell you that it's not okay for you to say to someone, yeah, it's okay that you're feeling a bit sick, but no, still, it's fine, come in, yeah. Like, why do I have to tell you that, no, he or she or they should stay at home? Like, it's, I don't know.
That is, I think, another pandemic that's going across a lot of companies, which is it's a pandemic. Because why is it that every company you go to, managers are promoted into managerial positions without having any training or development on how to be a manager? They're being promoted just on technical skills alone. Like,
it's literally
it's crazy.
It's wild.
It's crazy. And the justification is that they're good technically. Great. But you are calling them a manager and putting a team of 6, 5, 10 people underneath them, and they don't even like talking to people.
And they don't even want to be a manager.
Yeah.
They just wanted the promotion, and you told them, if you want to be promoted,
You have to be a manager.
Yeah.
It's literally like becoming the CEO of Dunkin' Donuts because you make the best dough. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you don't have the, like, it's completely different.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game, and they're not equipping people to do it. And I think they should really understand. Where I think companies will do well is when they are able to understand this person is technically strong, but we don't have to put them in a managerial position. But we can still promote them. We can still give them a pay rise, but they don't have to have those responsibilities.
Did they have that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I feel like with, in tech anyway, they do a lot of promotion amongst the individual contributors. So you can go as high as like a director or a VP and earn exactly what they earn without managing people. So obviously that's a techie's dream, to just code and do all these diffs and not have to manage people, but still make what your manager makes. Yeah.
That's literally the only place I've ever seen it. The tech company that I worked in, only place I've ever seen people get promoted. One of the consultant companies I worked in, for their technical staff, they literally created a whole new career path, and they called it distinguished leader. I don't know why. They called it distinguished leader, but because after, usually the next level would be associate director, and you have to go and sell. And they was like, all the people were like, if you make me do that, I'm going to leave. And then so they were like, okay, cool. You don't have to do that. We'll make something else for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so widespread. Like, I just don't get it. Like, when I was doing my master's, we studied it. One of our tutors has a theory. She wrote a book. I think the only people that I've ever bought the book are people that on her course that she forced to buy it. And shout out you, Christine. It's called The Managerial Escalator for anyone that's interested. It basically speaks about how people get promoted into management positions because of their technical capability and they're very underqualified.
She lying.
Yeah, like it's literally, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I do think more companies should look at how they can retain people who don't want to manage but still promote them, because they've been doing their job. So why can't they keep doing their job? Why do you have to give them people? Like, that's literally pastoral care. Like 50% of being a manager is like pastoral care. It's not technical. So if you know that person, that's not their thing, then
it's true. And I think you'd find a lot of what you like to call steady eddies would actually progress.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the whole, some of the reasons why they don't want to go further is because of those additional duties of looking after other people and having to engage more and just have those responsibilities. Whereas if you just told them to focus on their role intensely, I'm sure they'd be happy to progress that way.
The more I think about these steady eddies, the more I feel some of them have really clocked life because they're happy where they are, doing the role.
They've been quiet quitting. From
day
day.
They didn't even quiet quit because they set the boundaries from the beginning. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add value to this level is what I'm comfortable with, and that's it. But they really have the game locked because I literally have become that person. Like I used to probably even listen, I'll do what I need to do, and then I'll become a reliable. You know, the reliable person. I don't need to set the world alight
steady
anymore.
Eddie.
Listen, and steady Edwina, like, and I don't want to manage anybody anymore. Like before, even when we started the pod, I would say, this was only however many months ago. I decided it's much easier not to manage people.
Listen,
way easier.
I'm not a big fan of if more than 2 people. I'm not on it. That's it for me, really and truly.
I feel like the only way I'd want to manage people is if they are very, very senior themselves, where I'm not really managing them. They're just keeping me updated.
They do their job without
So you want to be the managers, the bad managers that we're talking about that say, they don't want to get involved too much.
No, I won't throw anyone to the wolves.
Okay.
I won't, but I want people who know what they're doing, because I know this is about managers, but the worst thing you can have as a manager is people who
it will ruin your
honestly, it will finish you. You'll be so stressed out. So if they know what they're doing, then fine,
you're good to go.
I'll do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, honestly, I can imagine you being like, you know what? The way I like to work is, I just want to tell you how. Get to see if you choose A, B, D, A to B. As long as you get there, it's okay. Just let me know if you wanted me to knock down any doors.
I had that manager. I literally had that manager. Shout out Sandy. I had that manager.
Like that type of manager.
Yeah, she'd literally be like, I don't know if because she was French as well, but she was so like chilled and she was just like, if you have any problems, let me know. If you're doing your job, then that's good. Literally, she was like, if we need to talk, let's talk. But then if I was annoyed, she always took on my frustration. She'll be like, what the fuck? Like, literally.
I think some people they're so expressive, and I love that.
But I loved it because it meant that when a manager or something didn't agree with what I was saying, especially being in ER, where it's like they don't always like your decision or your recommendation, and I'll be like, Sandy, look, this is what they're saying, and she's like, no, you're saying the right thing. Go back. I'm like, cool.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I like a manager that is very in touch with their emotions. So I do. I like a soft skills manager.
Okay. Someone with that high emotional intelligence.
That's the word. There we go. I love that because I feel like that's when you get the best out of people, because you will then not only just be like, okay, these people are doing great at their work, but when things come up, when I don't know, they have to leave early or they get pregnant or whatever, these life things start happening, you're not there going, no, but you need to work, or why are they leaving at 5:30? You're understanding and you're accommodating. You're like, oh no, work from home today. Oh, you're feeling sick. Don't worry, don't come in. And I feel like that's how you start building like a really good team, but also being a good manager.
Do you know what it is? A lot of managers, I feel like your relationship with your manager is actually like a relationship, or like with employees in general. Like if you've been with a manager who's been treated nice, talk correctly, experienced good management, you know, they will literally just be like sensible and together, and they're more likely to be good.
They won't want to let you down.
Yeah, if you've been with a manager who's really experienced trauma, who's been shouted at, who had to work, you know, all hours, they start to think that that's the expectation, like that's what that's the contract that they're trying to build with you. And I'm like, Maggie, I'm not signing this your contract because no, like it's not happening. So I feel like they're really a product of their experiences.
That's another thing though, what you said about like working late and stuff. I feel like more managers need to be aware of their subculture that they set on their team. Like if you have a manager who you can send them an email at 1 a.m. or 5 a.m. and they answer, you're going to feel like, okay, if somebody emails me, I need to, you know, be awake. I need to reply and stuff. If you see that if your manager's on holiday and they still respond to things, I used to hate that. I had a manager that would always respond to things when they were on holiday, and it just, I mean, you guys know me by now.
I was literally about to say, but I feel like you, Velisa, wouldn't be doing these things even if you saw them.
I definitely would not do that.
Of course not.
But there were people on my team who felt like who felt like they had to do that because that's what our manager was doing, and it's just
it
like
makes sense.
no. And then we had a VP who was always good at saying, "I'm on holiday." Unless some like literally is the building is falling down, then like I'm sure you guys are more than capable. Yeah, you guys are more than capable of dealing with it. So and so, if you have any escalations, this person's in charge, and I really like that because it's like like you can take holidays. It's okay.
I was gonna ask you, you know, when you're in a team. So, Velisa, how you are with like, oh, I'm not going to respond to whatever message or email that comes through after a certain amount of time. Have you ever been in a team where you're like, no, I'm not responding to that, and then the other person is like, oh no, but I feel like I should, or do you know what I mean? Or they always go out of their way to do that.
Yeah.
Like, do you not think inside, like, what are you doing?
Do you know what? This is going to sound so gassed, but I'm so good at my job, yeah. That like you can do all what you're doing. I don't give a heck. Like, do what you're doing because we're gonna get the same results.
I love that.
Like,
it's true.
No.
People love me probably more than they love you.
Maybe that's why they try so hard.
You're watching someone burn out in 4K and there's nothing you can do.
Literally.
And I literally watch them burn out because, you know, sometimes you're so laid back because I'm exactly the same. I'm just like, I'm not putting my energy into all of this, and I can see you doing it and I can see you, I know what your end goal is, but it's just not that deep, and I'm more than happy to watch you go ahead, and then when we meet each other at the same place, I'm just gonna be like this. That's why I didn't do it.
With your skin looking all fresh and then looking all
exactly.
exhausted.
I think in relation to HR as well, you can't take everything on your shoulders. You have to, I don't know how, because like people who know me outside of work will laugh if they heard my manager say, oh, Velisa's really calm and she stays calm under pressure. But you have to in the workplace. Like, I can't speak for my friends and family outside of work. But in the workplace, you have to do that. Otherwise, you will burn out. So, and I feel like that's another thing as a manager. Those micromanagers are the people who take everything on their shoulders
and they expect you to
do the same thing. And I feel like if you're going to be a good manager, if you're going to be a good employee, you can't do that because you will literally like burn yourself out and you'll project.
I know Lola's got some stats that she wants to share, but I also remember having a bad manager. This was early on in my career, but she was so bad that the whole team like ganged up against her and went to the CEO. And
that's actually shameful. That's shameful.
It was embarrassing.
No, it was bad. It was bad. Like, she was just so bad at her job. And then we went to the CEO, and the CEO interviewed us. It was a team of 6, interviewed us one by one to ask about her, like her. She shouted, actually. I know we actually spoke about we'd leave, but I was junior in my career, and she would shout till she was red in front of the whole team, and then just like storm off, take a break, and then come back and then just act like nothing happened.
She had stuff going on at her.
100%. 100%. But at the time, I had no confidence to be talking to me, telling anyone don't shout at me.
I don't come to work to be disrespected.
You know what I mean?
When you're junior, you would take it.
Yeah, I hadn't developed then, but now it can never happen. But then I was just like, wow, this is really mad. But within like a week or two, she was gone.
Wow.
She was gone.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, she was gone.
No, it's like that lady I told you about who used to call the office and ask us if we finished our work because we were laughing. I was 21, so I literally thought like, is this what I have to look forward to the rest of my life? Like, is this it? Like, is this another public sector? And literally, she would call and they'd be like, they'd start mouthing, it's Emma, and everyone would go like dead silent. And if she managed to catch, like, someone picked up the phone, not knowing it's her, and then she heard us laughing. Is that, now I'm thinking about it, I know it's bad, but it's actually it's actually so bad.
It is scary.
It's actually so bad. Like, why do you hate us?
No, honestly, why is she trying
to
to catch you out?
But she was actually the worst. She was like,
But you know, the new generation coming up, I don't think they'd have it, you know.
They wouldn't.
All of the stuff that we took when we were like starting,
They're not.
I don't
not
think they're taking it.
I do not come to work to be disrespected. I can imagine.
I don't even think they're saying that. I just feel like they'll say, "This is long. I'm gone."
One of my my friend's sisters, her little sister, she had a meeting with her manager, and when she told me like how she spoke to her manager, I said, "Girl, like seriously," and then she was like, "Oh, what do you think?" I was thinking, "You're out the door."
Too late to ask me that question.
I was thinking, what are you on?
Do you think they'll be able to progress?
I think they will.
They will. You know why?
They'll have to take them.
Yeah,
The managers have to adjust because
you think so?
Yes, the force that they're coming with, the skills that they're coming with, the things that they're demanding, you have to. It's too much to not like. You can't overpower them. You're outnumbered because they are the future. So you have to adapt. So you can't you have to adapt. You have to.
That will be interesting because essentially, like, millennials will be the managers of these people.
Have you seen the alphas and the betas that are coming through after this generation? They're not having it. Like, they are not going to sit there and have someone shout at them.
They'll cry.
They will make the manager
They're
cry.
sensitive. Can I say that? I don't want to get cancelled.
What? That what?
That they'll cry and that they're sensitive.
Who?
No, it's
The generation?
Gen Z.
It's proven. They're literally the most like in touch with their feelings. I did it in my disso, but they're
Yeah.
most in touch with their feelings. They're the most like culturally diverse, obviously, generation, and they're the generation that cares most about well-being or
environment and stuff.
they
where
have
they
the
work.
highest what's the word? They appreciate their own well-being. Like they're very aware. They have a good awareness
Yeah.
of their own well-being. Whereas before, literally, your mental health will just be in the toilet, and you'll be coming to work anyhow.
Yeah.
But that was just the culture, isn't it?
But I do also think they stand their ground more.
How does that work though? If you work for like a Deloitte or a Goldman Sachs,
They haven't. I feel like they're having to adjust.
They have to.
Like people will, they will literally resist against the change for as long as they can. But like, you will have to adjust. They're all coming in the same they're all coming in from the same factory.
Exactly.
Like you're not going to import them. Do you know what I mean? Like you literally, this is what you're going to get. So you're going to have to adjust. The same way they adjusted for us. They told us we were lazy. We, we don't want to work 24 hours. How dare us, not have a job for life and change our jobs. Like they've adjusted.
That's true.
They've adjusted and they will adjust to these newbies as well. And the newbies will like assimilate to an extent as well.
Yeah. It's long for them, It is.
So what's on here? There was a couple of things we were laughing at earlier. This is from a people management article if anyone's interested. But it's the main kind of headline was that 2 in 5, so 40% of employees have left a job because of a bad manager. I'm actually surprised it's not. Well, I guess, yeah, but yeah,
2 and 5.
Yeah, but I guess that means 40% of people had a bad manager.
Which is quite high.
Yeah, it's quite high. And then 53% were considering leaving a job because their manager was a bad manager. The thing that made me laugh, right, is there's a bit in here where it speaks about like what the characteristics of a good manager are. And I feel like it's the Billy basics. So this is what the top ones that came up were: treating people well. Which I feel like the fact that you have to say that is literally the bare minimum. It's like the bar is in hell. Like,
literally.
treat people well.
Listening
Listening to others.
Whoa.
Again,
Yeah,
as a
like,
manager,
listen,
basic.
and people are saying they have bad managers, so that but definition means that they've been treated well and
That's
no one listens
scary.
to them. And then also showing respect to other staff members.
Jeez.
Can you imagine?
So basically not disrespecting your team and listening to them and treating them well. That's what people are looking for, and it's not what they're getting. That's actually very scary.
Those are so simple.
It's so simple, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
we're actually it's crumbs. It's crumbs. Not even learning, not development, just like don't
Just basic
don't abuse
manners.
me. I don't want to come
basic
to work and be
manners.
abused. And then in terms of a bad manager, they said some of the attributes that they thought made someone a bad manager was being unapproachable. If you can't approach a manager, what is even the point? But you know, like wasn't my direct manager, but a manager I worked with on a project who used to sit at their desk with their headphones in, which I don't have a problem with, but you literally felt like you were disturbing them every time by their response. If you want to wear your headphones, but when I come over, like, smile at me, take them out, tell me, like, ask me what they used to look at me like, and
You're interrupting my podcast.
You come next to them, you come next to them, and they know you're there, but they're not looking. Do you get what I mean?
don't like that.
It's like, do you want me to tap you? Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, no. Being unapproachable was the worst. Not being able to listen. Again, Billy Basics. Treating members of the team differently. I think that's like one of the worst ones. Favoritism.
Have you experienced it or seen that?
I've seen it
before?
loads. I've seen it in teams that I've been in, and I've also seen it in teams that I've like with line managers that I'm working with or coaching.
I don't think I've been in like a big enough team to witness that before.
I've seen it. I don't know if I've experienced it, but I've
I feel
definitely
like that.
seen
Do you think that's
it.
because maybe you are the one that was being
The
favoured?
The golden child.
Felisa's like, am I
like,
like drama?
maybe.
Am I the drama? No, but I don't think I've experienced it.
I've definitely experienced it. Like I don't think I've experienced being the favourite. That's very sad. But I've definitely seen teams where there is a favourite, and a lot of that's been around the social stuff. You know, the people that they go to the pub with. The work ain't necessarily that great. Maybe they're not being favoured above me, but they're not necessarily being treated as the basic B that they are based on their actual work. So the social stuff might be carrying them a bit more than it should, or allowing them to have more grace when, you know, like stuff like I've seen people fail exams and not get, like, in those sorts of environments where you would get fired or get sanctioned, and not because people like them.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, I've seen that
happens.
before. Yeah, I've seen like at a recruitment company, just liking the same football team as your manager was a thing. So then obviously if there was a match the day before, like if Arsenal was playing Man U or something and their team's lost or whatever, the next morning they're ready to have that sort of banter.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff just helps like keep a relationship going.
It's true. You know, I used to work at a company, and it was actually after I left. It was after I left, but the team were telling me about it, and I wasn't surprised by the behaviour at all. But the owners of the company are like heavy Liverpool fans, like as in they know some of the Liverpool legends, not because they knew them from growing up, but they are rich and have inserted themselves into their lives, right? And when Liverpool were in the Champions League final, they chartered a private jet to Kiev, and then they just picked 30 employees to go.
Is it?
When I say they picked, I mean they hand selected the people that they liked.
Of course.
Wow.
They didn't even pretend. You know, like in a big company or in a fair company, you would pretend it was a ballot, or you would get the line managers to nominate. They just said, no, you.
Wow.
Kiev.
Wow.
Do you think they'd have a case, the people that weren't selected?
Probably. But there's one of those companies where
It'd be hard to prove.
Yeah. Not even hard to prove. Like, people just wouldn't. It was a sports company, and it's one of those environments that you just want to be in. So let's say you're an Arsenal fan, you really want to work at Arsenal. There's like a lot of the people there are in bondage. Or let's say you're a fashion girl and you've got the opportunity to work at Chanel. They could literally beat you and you wouldn't leave.
It's true. It's true.
Fashion and sports are actually, I think, the worst for that.
Yeah.
Like, your manager could literally treat you like rubbish, but because you work at Chanel or because you work at, not these particular brands, but because it's your lifelong dream to work at, you know, Balenciaga, they literally will pay you 5p, flog you, and you'll show up every day.
But
with
they
fresh
know
coffee.
it as well. That's why they do it.
Yeah, they know that if you leave, there's a million people that will replace you in a second.
That want it. Yeah.
Based on brands,
sports are exactly the same. Football companies. I used to do the recruitment, or I used to recruit the recruiters that worked at Chelsea, And when we put the advert out, mate, the worst thing I ever did, you know, on LinkedIn, you can put your face as like, oh, reach out to the company poster. I did that. It was the dumbest thing I ever did. Because when I tell you, I got like no less than 50 messages in the first day from all the Chelsea fans. Every recruiter in the world that supported Chelsea was messaging me. People that had no recruitment experience were messaging me. And the credentials they were giving us, I've been a lifelong Chelsea fan. I'm a season ticket holder. Be a season ticket holder. Can you do the job? Like, no, anyway, I digress. But yeah, favoritism is like, it can be, I think it's really bad because actually it can cause toxicity in the team, and it can cause people not to like each other when actually the issue is you as the manager.
Do you know what? I think when the favoritism is obvious to everybody, because, for example, this is just an example, but if you have a black manager and you're also black and you found common ground and there's just a general, like, you know, secretly you're going to be like a favorite because but it just shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be
open.
Something,
Yeah,
you might like that person.
obvious.
They might be your favorite person personally, but you can't. The work still needs to be
Exactly.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be compromised. So I feel like what I've seen is people let the social, like you said, Lola, like the social side of the favoritism like overshadow the work, and then they get conflated. It's like, is this person being promoted because they're actually good at their job, or are they being promoted because
you like them?
It becomes really difficult to know.
It's true.
Yeah,
You've got to be careful.
And the last one on that list, actually, which I just thought was hilarious because it's, again, Billy Basics, is a bad manager the trait of a bad manager is shouting at the team. And come on, like, yeah, but it's just ridiculous. Can you get like, would a solitary instance of shouting be enough to like raise a case? Because I guess it's like, what do they say? It's humiliating or harassment, or the aim of it is to humiliate you, embarrass you.
Yeah, I've done investigations on it, like on managers,
but like one
shouting
or like
and stuff.
one instance or like recurring.
Both. Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say jinx, but you can't. But anyway.
Showing your age, Lola.
You are.
Listen, these people already know how old I am.
I would definitely, personally, if that happened to me now, I would want something written that happened. Whether it goes anywhere or not, fine. But I want it written somewhere, because the next time it happens, it's not, something needs to happen. Like, I need to see a formal process.
Yeah, I hear that. I was saying before we started recording that working at a recruitment company, a lot of the recruiters' backgrounds were from sports. So a lot of them were rugby players, football players that either didn't make it or were injured, whatever it is. So they were kind of used to...
I'm sorry, that were injured it felt shady. Like, I would have been a footballer if I didn't pull my hamstring.
She said, "Shots
Sorry.
I'm just saying that, you know, that's what we hear it. We hear the streets say the knee
too, I
got,
would've
you know. But because they came from that background and that sort of culture, when, you know, they're now in a recruitment environment where they are shouting like, you know, oh, you should have done better, or this isn't good enough, or go get it, blah, blah, blah. They're used to it. Like they don't flinch at the fact that their managers literally gathered them all together like a huddle to shout at everybody all at once to say, you didn't hit your target. That other team, they hit their target, like blah, blah, blah. So you shouldn't shout. But I think if that's the way some people get motivated, because some people do. I think it depends on the shouting, you know, like, were you shouting and just like shouting at one person? That's wild.
Yeah,
but,
it happens though.
That's wild. But if you're in a team and that's literally the
Kind of,
competitive vibe that's going on, then I don't necessarily agree with it, but I didn't flinch when it was happening because it's just how they did it.
Because, you know, you can shout at the wrong person, you know.
For real.
And the consequences of that can be wilder than you thought.
Do you know what? Yeah, I haven't done it personally, but what I want to know, it's not advice. I'm not telling you to do it. But if someone does it, I want to know what happens. If someone shouts at you and you shout back, what happens?
Like, no, honestly,
It's a good question.
yeah, it's a good question.
You shout at the wrong way and they shout back at you.
Like, do we just sweep it under the rug? Like, what?
Do you know what I mean? I think we should ask people, because
I would love to see
Like,
that.
I
I would love to
wanna
try
know.
that. You shout and I shout back at you. Now which one of us is
What
in the wrong?
Yeah.
You want to be mad? Me,
I'm
I can be
madder.
madder.
and that's what I'm saying. If you do it to the wrong person, the madder will actually come out. And
It's
a
true.
lot of people code switch in the office, and they are not who they are outside.
It's
But if
true.
you now bring the outside inside, you just
It's
never know
true.
what's
Do you
gonna
know what,
happen.
yeah? My brother once told me that somebody, I don't know if they shouted or they spoke to him in a way that he did not like. I think they didn't shout, but they raised their voice. And my brother was like, he was so annoyed because he knows that if he raises his voice now, everybody must leave the office. Do you get what I mean? Like, even
Yeah.
as a black man, you stand out and you raise your voice. People,
Yeah.
the emails that HR would have received,
Yeah.
It's
like,
true. I always say,
So sad.
it is.
I always say that the way some people speak to not just black people, different cultures and races in the workplace, they know that if they ever decided to do that, like outside of the workplace, then things could be very different. The workplace is a very safe environment.
It's very safe.
You're protected.
You're
It's very
protected.
safe.
So therefore, the
know
way
what
they
they say?
speak to some people, they know that person has to
Yeah.
contain and control how they respond. But they know, like, I always say it, just the way some people have spoken to me in the past that way, I'm like, you're so lucky. You're blessed. You're blessed.
Catch me outside.
Literally.
How
How
about
about
that?
Come round the corner. Like,
No, honestly, because I mean, this is very off-brand, but outside of work, not me personally, but for other people, I'm not anti-violence. Like, I genuinely think, especially when it comes to like any of the isms, I really think that people won't change, and so the only way for a lot of people to learn is through violence. Not that they will learn and change their attitudes, but they will learn not to say it out loud. Do you get it? Because if you're in the office and you say something racist to me, what can I do? I'm just gonna go. Might make a little complaint, blah blah. If you don't get fired or whatever, you say sorry. We have to move forward. If we're outside the office and you say it,
Might catch some hands.
and
Not from me.
you catch some hands,
from
next
someone.
time it's gonna click in your head that this is not an appropriate thing.
it's
to
true.
do.
It's true.
Obviously, I'm not advocating violence for anybody, but also if you feel that that's the best solution,
Yeah. My
Go
mum
off.
said if someone hits you, you hit
hit
them
them
back.
hard. No,
And
but
there's also
honestly,
the saying, he who doesn't hear must feel.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Those who don't hear must
Yeah.
fall.
That's it.
Yep.
do you know what,
Not
yeah.
promoting violence.
At all.
Me neither.
Never.
I don't know if we'll have to edit this out, yeah, but I don't know if I've ever told you, yeah. But one of my favorite things to do on Twitter, some of my favorite threads are the ones where it's like,
Oh, they're beating the racists.
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy watching
I
it.
love
So,
it. The reason I appreciate those things is because you always see the beginner. It's because he must not feel. A lot of the time, the person saying, "Don't call me that."
I know, and they'll be saying it.
Don't
I'm
call me
saying
that. I
it.
don't want you to call me that. Stop calling me. I'm warning you.
No,
I'm
it's
warning
true.
you.
It's
It's
true.
true.
It's
Don't
true.
understand.
It's true.
And I don't feel any sympathy.
None
No,
at all.
neither do I.
None at all.
Anyway, we digress.
We do. Who's editing the pod this week?
Oh boy, I think there's gonna be so much stuff in here that we take out. We need a Patreon so that we can give you guys the unfiltered content.
It's true.
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered content.
What I actually wanted to talk about as well, when you're interviewing, what do you look for in a manager? Because I've interviewed and been like, I don't want to work with you. Like, if you're my manager, I don't see this working. And some people listen to that, some people don't. And I just want to know how much of how important is that to people when they are going through that process? Because a lot of the time, unless you move into a new department or your manager has changed, you know who your manager is before you start. So
How can you
what
even research
what
them?
check did
Yeah.
you do to ensure that you like working with this person or not?
What I used to do when I was interviewing, not interviewing to join a company, but people interviewing to join our company, I would I'd ask them if they wanted to speak to anybody in the business. Like, they could literally pick someone. They'll just go on LinkedIn and be like, "Oh, this person,"
Yeah.
or like somebody else in that person's team, and we would be like, "Okay, just be honest with them." Like, that's how we would brief the employee for the conversation, and they could ask questions like, "What's it like working with this person? What's it like working with that person?" Obviously, people can lie, and if you have a bad manager, but I feel like you can tell if someone's lying. Do you get what I mean? Like, if and the way they'll put it, like if people have positive things to say, they have positives, and if they're struggling for positive things to say, usually they'll just say nothing. So I feel like speaking to people who already work at the company is a good way, or who are already in that team is a nice way, but you have to roll the dice, man.
Yeah, for real. I think in general, I've been quite good at seeing that, you know, I've had good managers, so I think they've all been all right. It's just the
Spirit
school.
of discernment.
The school that bamboozled me, boy. Because I thought, yeah, like my manager was a black woman. I thought, okay, this is different. This
What
is
was it? I never knew that.
that wicked woman.
I never knew that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, so I thought, okay. And then the head teacher, I thought she was really cool. Like, she was so excited to just, you know, meet me with the interview. So I thought, oh, these people just seem so nice. But I didn't speak to anyone outside of the board that I interviewed for.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's all schools, because I've only worked at one, but it was a lot of governors that interviewed me too, who don't actually work in the school.
Yeah.
Then when I entered the school, and then people were like, oh, you know, you're the third HR manager in XYZ. I said,
scary.
that was like first red flag. And then as time went on and different people, they were like, oh, you're too nice to be working here. What are you doing here?
You're too nice to be working here.
Literally, people would like, I do.
They said, get out.
Yeah, literally. I do exit interviews, and they would tell me like everything that they're going through, and like what the head teacher that I thought was so nice was like, you know, not nice about. Like even, do you know what? I think I said it before in the pod. The day I started at the school is the day my granddad died.
Yeah,
and they didn't actually say like, go. Do you know what I mean? Like I literally came in on my first day and said, my granddad, I just found out on the train. Yeah. They didn't say go. I kind of like, maneuvered of like, you know, like I need to go. So even stuff like that, I was like, wow. I was really like bamboozled by this place. So I think it's true. Like you should try to speak to at least cross-functional partners. So outside of your team, people who work with, they might still lie, but they'll be a bit more open about how things really work.
And also do your stalking. Find out who worked in this company before. Like if you if you
now
had
I do that.
If you had gone on this video that this you're the third one in however many years or however many months, you would have been like, what?
Yeah.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah, now I know.
And also I ask in the interview, like, what's your management style? Like, how do you
I
like
like
that?
asking that.
Yeah, I like to ask that question, and like, I don't actually think people will lie.
No, they can't on that question.
No, because you're about to be tested. If I get this role, we're gonna really see what you.
Yeah, and sometimes I've been in interviews. There was a CTO. I had to start sitting in his interviews. He did the final stage, and he was just turning too many people off because he was very like directive, like, you know, like it's like firing questions at someone rather than having a discussion. At the final stage, they've been tested technically, they've had another interview, like you're really signing it off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just be a human being. And he would just start asking them technical questions. Do you know about this? He'll find niche technical areas, ask them about them, and if they didn't know, it's not like he was going to judge them for it, but they would already start feeling like they're not doing a good job. So I had to start sitting in the interviews with him, and he turned so many people off, and I think it's because they know, like, I can't work with you. Your style is going to be like directive like this, and it's going to be like robotic, and they wouldn't have been wrong because that is literally his style. Yeah, so I think use the interview to see the kind of gauge, the kind of not banter, but the kind of rapport that you can build. And if it's not feeling right, then just reflect.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps somebody.
So that's good managers. Bad managers.
We're all good managers, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
When I manage, I feel like I am. I don't do it often, but when I do, I like to take on the whole mentor type approach when I'm managing.
Yeah.
I've decided that I'm happy to be a managee.
I think that's fair. I think when you've had a lot of managers, or like a substantial amount of managers, I think you become a good manager. I'm not trying to like attack anyone, because we've spoken about baby boomer as a mentality. It's not an age,
but they would have had one manager.
Like they would have had one manager their whole career, or they've just kind of slipped into their career path, so they became senior very quickly, so they haven't really been managed. Whereas I feel like with the millennials, also a mentality, but we because we like Gen Z, similarly, move jobs quite quickly. We have a lot of managers and we see
honestly
what we
like-
like and what we don't like.
It's
So then,
dating, isn't it?
yeah, it
more
is.
boyfriends or more date, you start to understand what you like.
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
don't like.
exactly.
Whereas if you met somebody who had only ever had one relationship in like their 30s, you'd be looking
Exactly.
at them
Yeah. So then you know how to manage a bit better because
Yeah.
you've experienced different types and you know how it feels to have different scenarios happen to you. Yeah.
like, all right, cool. Love that.
Good place to end.
Cool.
Like, follow, share, comment, subscribe. I see Velisa's
Yeah,
hands
right.
going like this. I'm like, quickly. Like, follow, share, comment, subscribe. YouTube, TikTok's doing well.
Yeah,
if you're a
shout out to all
TikTok
the
person.
new to people listening from TikTok because I think we're getting the For You page is really it's for you guys.
Yeah, and YouTube as well. Our subscribers are going up.
It is going up, and I love
Why are you
that.
laughing?
I'm sorry. It's just funny because it's like it's every time. I know that you know exactly the number of subscribers that we have every time.
No, I don't. I know it's over 200 now.
It's like 250 or something.
I didn't
261.
know.
Oh. Yeah, because no one expects Velisa to know. Come on,
Oh my gosh. No. Okay. It's really doing well
Is that
then.
microaggression?
I think it was.
That is so funny. But no, thank you. We appreciate it. And we see all the love and support. Thanks.
That's a wrap, guys.
Bye.
Bye.